So I just have one session today, and the producer is supposed to get here at 2:30, I believe. I haven't opened the session. I haven't even made a session yet, so I have to do all that stuff before he gets here. It seems like the song's pretty straightforward. So the game plan is to just get the Pro Tools session set up, get the song dropped in, and basically just get the song like formed, charted out, like sections of the song, like chorus, verse, all that stuff. Just that way when he gets here we can just hit the ground running and make our time together efficient. Oh, also I gotta check and make sure all the drums are good and tuned up. I did that a little bit yesterday, but sometimes things can change overnight, and like depending on how cold the room is and stuff like that. So that's what I'm doing. So the first thing that I have to do is I have to actually get the song. He texted me the link for the Google Drive file that all the stuff, all the song information is going to be in. So I should just be able to pull that out from there. It literally says for John. Alright, he gave me a with drums and without drums, which is always nice. That way it just gives me a little bit of the vibe, but how do I download this? Right click, download. I don't use Google Drive very often. I mostly use Dropbox and WeTransfer, but they're all the same. Anyway, he sent me drums and without drums, so I'm downloading both of those. 75 BPMs. That's it has to be the most used BPM of all time. While I'm opening Pro Tools up, I thought I would kind of tell you why I use Pro Tools. So instead of like Ableton or Logic, I actually own like the full version of Ableton, and I love it and I use it all the time. But for recording drums, I've found that Pro Tools the workflow is a little bit easier, and there's two reasons for that. The first reason is just being able to group everything and chop everything up as like one group is super helpful, because that allows me to, if I'm quantizing stuff, that allows me to quantize basically one track instead of quantizing, I think I have nine different lines going. And then the second reason is Beat Detective. The way that Beat Detective works is, for those of you that don't know what Beat Detective is, it's a software that basically just tightens everything up and time aligns your drums. So like, let's say like your kick drum was a little bit late on a beat, it'll shift it over for you. And unlike Logic or Ableton, Beat Detective doesn't warp the audio. It literally just cuts at the transient marks and drags those individual transients around and then crossfades them back together. So with that, the benefit is there's no artifacts, and an artifact is basically like just little pops or anything like that randomly come into audio files. That's basically it. That's literally the only two reasons I use Pro Tools. Alright, now I'm just loading a template that I have, and basically it just has all the routing and all of the instruments and stuff preloaded. That way, again, speeding up the workflow and I don't have to worry about it. Alright, Pro Tools is loaded up now. And now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna drag the actual, so what I've done is I made a folder specifically for this song right there. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna download, these are the two with and without drums files, and I'm going to drag those into that folder. That way it keeps everything nice and tidy and neat, and I know where everything is instead of having to like guess where things are. So. Alright, markers are put in. It's a really short, easy song. Now I'm just going to make sure that all my signal chain and everything is correct for drums going into these interfaces. This should be. I checked it yesterday, so the only issue would be like a software thing with Pro Tools. So there should be nothing wrong. Yeah, if your studio is like this at all, I highly recommend getting a Bluetooth mouse and keyboard and an external monitor. It just makes everything so much easier. Also, an important thing to note, I'm not listening or playing through the song at all. All I'm doing is just making sure that all of the drums are routed correctly and everything's like getting clean signal. I'm not recording anything or playing anything. I'm literally just checking this stuff, making sure it's functioning for the recording. Forgot my in-ears. Not a great way to start, John. distortion on the two toms, so I'm gonna check to see the gain, if the gain staging's right. Tried the old plug and unplug trick, so this might work. Alright, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna watch the LED meters on my interface over there and see if anything's blinking red. If it is, then that just means it's a gain staging problem. If not, then it's probably either the cable's not plugged in all the way or it's the cable itself. I'm gonna try switching the cables out. A lot of this is just trial and error. Taking the back off and checking all the connections going to the interface. See if that's the issue. I think that fixed it. Just kidding. You know, I think I figured it out, and the issue's really weird. So it's whenever I hit record on this, like going to my iRig and splitting the signal, it does the distortion thing. But when I don't, it sounds totally fine. As long as it's not an issue, it sucks for this, but as long as it's not an issue for what I'm working on, how can an iRig? Now that the weird issue is fixed, I can put the back on this thing, because this is ugly. I'm glad that I was able to figure it out before the session, because that's literally why you check things before a session. That way your client's not just sitting there. There's nothing worse than when you don't have things ready when a client gets there and something goes wrong and you're just sitting there, the client's just sitting there twiddling their thumbs while you frantically try to figure out what's wrong. I don't even know why an iRig would do that. Like, I know when you split a signal, like the volume goes down a little bit because you're splitting it into two different places, but it like straight up like dropped like at least 10 dB but got super distorty. Like, is that a word? That's not a word. Anyway, I figured it out. I'm all set up, and now I'm just gonna wait. I'm gonna leave everything turned on just because it's all working, and it's only like an hour and a half before the client gets here, and it's not gonna hurt this stuff to stay on. So. Alright, I think he's here. Hey man, how are you?
Bro.
Good, how are you?
Sure
video games very well?
A year. Have like the Christmas tree
now I'm
in
good.
my fields.
Right. Okay, bye.
We'll just slowly sink down.
Dude, that's...
What your thoughts were
Yeah.
on brushes. I feel like brushes would be a little bit too weak.
Okay, that's what I'm like, some producers like it, some people. I like look down at my notes and I'm like, I think it cuts out right on beat 1, but I'm not sure. And sure enough, it did.
Yeah, it's like right away.
Yeah.
Man, you're playing for like a minute 20
I know,
seconds.
I know, right? I'm like, oh.
And it's like
all right.
the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was great. I think the only thing is on verse 2, were you doing like or something like that?
Yeah. Yeah, I can play it real quick.
I'm thinking still maybe let's do the snare on 4. So.
Okay. Did you want? Okay. Yeah, I agree with that. Did you want the second chorus to be the same as the first chorus, or did you maybe like do like something like with like I don't know, or do you think I'm like it may change the whole vibe of the song, to be honest, and I don't know if that's
Yeah, I kind of still prefer just the snare.
okay. Yeah.
I think because I'm also having shakers and stuff in there, which kind of covers that frequency.
Yeah. Let me make a new playlist real quick. So verse, let's add snare on beat 4. Yeah. Boom.
Yeah, snare on beat 4.
Yeah. Okay.
Also on chorus 1, I think he did kick on every beat. What if we just do boom, boom, so every other 1 and 3.
Okay. Yeah. What I
maybe
could do,
chorus 2 do every beat.
Yes, yeah. And then another thing I could do for chorus 2 to make it feel bigger is I could do foot splashes on the hi-hat.
Yes.
That
in
way,
fact,
like,
I think I did that in the programming.
Okay, cool. That's like a secret trick.
Yeah, that's also why I hired you. So.
Oh, thanks, man. I feel like that's one of the key things that like I do that just helps it feel bigger.
It just adds another texture.
It really does. Like I made a video talking about that, like why you need to use your left foot for more than just holding your hi-hats down. So.
Yeah.
I know for me it changed how I played. All right, let's do this again.
That tom sounds great, both of them.
Thanks, man. So I wanted to record my in-ear audio for this, but for some reason when I plugged the splitter in and plugged my iRig in and hit record, these mics just the gain went way down, but the distortion went way up, and it was only these microphones.
Just now?
No, when I was like sound checking earlier.
Oh, that's weird.
So I'm like, it's so bizarre. I don't understand why I would do that. It's whatever.
Was it even going into Pro Tools that way?
Yeah. So I don't know if it was just interference, but that makes no sense to me because even like when I had the phone here, up here, and then over there, and it did the same exact thing. The in-ear audio wouldn't have been very good anyway. So and I can't release it until the artist releases their stuff anyway. So
True.
All right, second attempt. It's not very confidence inspiring. All right.
Yeah, not bad. I liked it. One note on the last chorus.
Yes.
I don't love the floor tom hit.
Okay. I did it and I'm like, I wish I didn't do that. Okay.
You're like, now I'm locked in.
Dude, for real. Okay. Yeah. No floor tom thing. Honestly.
Everything else sounds great though.
Cool. Did you like the verse?
Oh, I love the verse.
Okay.
Verse is great. Can you do something different on the build up? I think I did like a doesn't have to be like this, but in the
Yeah.
programming I did like a snare build, like a
Yeah. I'll just. What if I did?
something.
Do you want snare and floor there? Da, 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 boo. Or just. Da, 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 da.
Yeah. Are you also going to be doing the hi-hat
Yeah.
as well?
Yeah.
Then yeah, that probably would work.
Just snare then. Or
Snare. You could do snare and
Floor? Okay.
four.
Cool.
We'll try it
Honestly,
and see.
Yeah. What I might do is I might just re-record the whole thing.
Overall, though, that felt really great.
It did? Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So literally I'm basically doing the same thing over 90% of it, just small little nuances. Okay.
That's right.
Dope. All right. I'm just going to record the whole thing just cuz, you know, it's short. It's like a minute.
Yeah.
All right. Here we go. I think that one felt good.
That one felt
personally.
great. Yeah. I liked the build up. Probably want to get another take of that. Love what you did on the kick there. The just bringing the kick in on the build.
Cool. So you said another take, like the whole thing? Or
Yeah,
just
let's get one more of the
one
whole
more?
take, but
Okay.
let's remember, is this take three, right? That you just did.
Yes.
Okay.
Take 3.
Yeah, that's probably the best one so far.
Okay. Take. I'm gonna write it down. Do you want to do a fun take or just an identical one of like this, just to?
Let's try to get another identical one.
Okay. Yeah. I feel like this. There's one direction to really go, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And because any other direction, it's gonna really like change the vibe of the song, and I don't think it'll be for the better, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Cool. This is take 4, I think. Honestly, at half the time, like, you can pretty much hear what's good and what's bad. Like, oh yeah, that sucked. Here, just listening through. Anyway.
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
was it.
Dude, I think, the
That was the
transitions felt a lot better.
Yeah.
I did something going into the... Yeah, let's listen to it real
I
quick.
think there was only one spot, maybe in chorus 2, that the snare timing was a little weird.
Yeah.
That was like literally the only thing.
If that's the only thing, don't tell anybody this, but sometimes if the snares aren't like...
Just fix it.
Yeah, I can literally just copy and paste it just because, if you're consistent enough, then it works most of the time. Cool. You want to listen to it one time and make sure that we got...
Yeah, let's listen to it.
What we got.
This has your processing on it and stuff?
Yeah. Super basic. Basically just making the drums less boxy or no boxiness.
You know, I was thinking about it, and I probably, unless I can really dial it in, probably won't layer snare samples, because with the marching thing, it's so hard to get it sounding natural.
Yeah. I don't do that. I did that for one project, or they asked me to do it for one project years ago, and I said no. Because it's like, I can't do that. Like, they're going to take hours. You're talking about hundreds and thousands of, samples to load in.
Because it's always different, so I feel like you're going to have to really automate, the threshold or whatever.
Oh, yeah. Which Ableton's great for that, but it's going to take forever and a day to do that.
Yeah, for
sure. Right, here we go.
Okay, honestly, that's probably my favorite one. That has some character to it.
Yeah. So, actually, I'm just gonna do that right now. Did we like everything on take 4 besides that?
I think so. I'd like to listen again. Okay. But yeah, if we could just pull that fill from take 1.
Yeah. It's
I can barely tell the difference there.
It's literally just dragging the thing in.
I deal with that all the time.
It's drums, I like playing parts and everything, but I love doing that. Because people will never know, and that whole thing.
Never gonna know.
Right, exactly.
Really like how your crashes sound with the kick.
Yeah. Cool. Anything else?
No, bro.
I think of?
Cool. I think you got it, and I'm gonna do it without the process tracks.
Okay.
Just have it be dry.
Dry, yeah.
That's good, bro.
Awesome, man.
Good job.
Thanks, man. Let me get this situated. So Nick, before you go, I wanted to ask you, since you're a producer in Nashville, what do you look for specifically in a drummer when you're looking to hire them for studio stuff?
Yeah, so there's definitely a couple specific things. First one I would say is good timing, because drummer is the foundation of a song, basically. So if the drummer's timing is off, yes, you can do editing, but it works better if the drummer has good timing. And number 2, honestly, just that they're a good person, good personality. I don't want to work with a jerk. John is not a jerk. So
I'm glad I'm not.
I'm sure some of your subscribers are angry comments and stuff.
Angry. That's YouTube. It's fun.
Yeah, good old YouTube. And so good hang. And then number 3, just creativity, I would say. Just somebody who can suggest different parts and, hey, what if we do this? What if we do this here? You threw out a hi-hat idea today. I was like, that's awesome.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, I would say those 3 things.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, and if you want to check Nick's workout, I'll link his socials down below. And if it lets me do a card, I don't know if YouTube took that away, but if it lets me do it, I'll put a card up there linking his stuff to check it out. Thanks, man.
Sick. Thanks, bro.
Cool. Nick just left, and now I'm going to quantize and make sure everything's super locked in for him. It's always great working with him. All right. So now I just gotta quantize them and get everything situated, and I'm gonna walk you through that. Actually, I'm gonna move you right here. So I'm here in Pro Tools. Here's the session, and we ended up keeping everything from the last take except for this fill. This is actually the first take, which is kind of funny. So this is the first take, and this is the last take. All right, so first what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna mute these tracks so that I only hear this guy and the metronome, which I'm gonna enable. All right, so now I like to work section by section. It works better for me typically. So I'm gonna split just this chorus, and now I'm gonna select, do Command 8, that's be detected. Clip separation, capture section, click analyze, and then zoom in a little bit. All right, now I'm gonna separate, and then the shortcut to get everything snapped in is Command 0. So you saw all this stuff kind of pushed in a little bit, so now I'm gonna give it one more listen. All right, now that that's done, now I'm gonna do the smoothing part. So I'm gonna select everything, capture the section, edit smoothing, smooth. Now I'll listen through it once. Sweet, now that I have everything good and locked in and I'm comfortable with it, now I'm just going to consolidate. And basically that means like I made all these like cuts and chops, and now I'm just gonna put all those cuts and chops back together as one solid like audio file. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to commit the tracks. So basically, let me explain that a little bit. So basically, I have all of these tracks being processed through some plugins, mostly just to clean things up. And what I want to do is I want to print these plugins on the tracks that I have. And to do that, in Pro Tools is committing them. So I'm going to select all of my desired tracks, and then go down to, I'm going to right click, go down to commit. Bam, okay. Click OK. Now it's rendering the tracks. Boom, and now notice all the effects are gone, and .cm has been added to all these, meaning those are the committed tracks. All right, so now go into the project file here. I'm also rendering a video, multitasking. Go into the project file, go to audio files, and these are all the .cm files. I'm gonna drag those into like a final drum bus or drum folder and send them off that way. That's basically it. It's not too crazy. That's what most of my sessions look like 90% of the time. Not too crazy. I try to keep it simple. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know. And if you want to check any of Nick's stuff out, he's a super talented producer in Nashville. I love working with him. He's a great guy and an even better friend. Again, links to his stuff down below. And yeah, that's okay.